Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we're going to try to move pretty quickly here because I would like to get 2 power modules to our 2 stations all in the same episode. So that's actually the lander. We need the power module. Let's move a little bit more quickly here. There we go. Power module, good to go. We should be able to just launch this, although I'm noticing I did not put tail fins on this. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to put tail fins quad coupled, and we'll place them, I don't know, right around here is probably fine. Yeah, that'll do. So we'll go ahead and save that and launch it. We're going to try to get 2 of these docked up, 1 to each of our stations this episode. Let's see how that goes. Fingers crossed. We should have no problem with like fuel or anything like that. So I'm not too concerned about it. We're going to YOLO it, and we're going to just see how much we can get done in this 1 episode, because I don't want to spend 2 episodes on power modules. So off we go. Seemed a little bit more wiggly than I'm used to. It's definitely more wiggly. Okay, we'll just lock to prograde for now. Okay, we're going to want to put a strut in up here. I think that's pretty clear. We're also going to want to change our heading. Just pulling that down a bit. Correcting it. There we go. Cool. And we'll sit prograde here. Wonderful. What's our thruster weight right now? Pretty high. No doubt about that. This is some weird aerodynamics effects. That's for sure. Very weird aerodynamics effects there. But let's hop over here, and our apoapsis is currently about 17 kilometers. We've got 25 more seconds of burn time in our SRBs. We're going to hop on down over here. We definitely do need to strut this a little bit differently for our second flight, but that's okay. Cool. This is really awkward looking. Okay. Off goes our SRBs, and for the time being, we're going to continue burning prograde. We don't have our apoapsis quite where we'd like it to be yet. And it continually wants to pull up here a little bit. And that's probably should be expected, in all honesty. So we'll just position it something a little bit more like this. We're getting pretty high up in altitude now, so that's great. We're just going to aim for an altitude of 105 kilometers, I think. Just to have a little bit of decay space. So that'll be fine, and we will, at this apoapsis, go ahead and add a maneuver here. Didn't quite get the horizontal speed that we were necessarily hoping for, but that should be just fine. We will circularize a little bit on this tank, but I'm really, really not concerned about it. We'll hop on over to the maneuver node, since apparently we can do that, and we will just physics warp and bend our way on over there. We really do need to strut this. Okay, so that's fine. We are... Oh, I did see a comment about the burn time. I actually have to pull it up right now because I forgot to do this. I meant to turn that on. So let me hop over into the comments section here. And... In here somewhere. Definitely in here somewhere. There it is. In the gameplay section, on the general tab in the settings, show extended burn indicator. So I didn't know that this was in here. That might only be doable. Actually, here it is. Extended burn indicator. Cool. So that tells us when we start the burn. It's just default in the game. I had no idea it was there. Thank you, Robin Patinol, for letting me know about that. I didn't know it was there, so that's absolutely great. We don't have to do the math because now we know that we need to start our burn here because we want 50% before and 50% after. Honestly, I agree with you. This should be on by default. It really, really should. So that's wonderful. We're going to warp forward. And we'll begin our burn here in a moment. When this is at 0 seconds, that's when we want to start that burn. I had no idea that that existed in there. It should be on by default. And burn. Excellent. So we're going to get most of our circularization here done with the tank here. That's fantastic. And once that burns out, we'll burn a little bit out of the Poodle here. The Poodle has plenty of Delta V. Like, that's not a concern. There we go. And we are, of course, in space, so we can extend our solar panels. We may want to retract these solar panels, or at least the front ones, for docking. We'll see. But for right now, this will do just fine. So off we go. And the burn will end here in another 5 seconds. We'll call that good enough. Okay, wonderful. So we are, of course, headed off to the moon. And when do we want to do this burn? Probably sometime over here, near the descending node, I think. Maybe a little sooner than that. We'll take a look. I mean, it's an encounter for sure. Actually, that's a pretty solid encounter. We can bring this down in the retrograde department. Actually, this is a prograde department a little bit. Having it at like 200 kilometers, I think is decent for doing an intercept. So that'll be fine. Yeah, this looks good. We'll walk to that maneuver node and we will physics warp our turn. Excellent. And we will go ahead and warp to that position. So we will need to start our burn in about 15 minutes here. Man, that's handy. Thank you for letting me know about that. I'm very, very happy to see that. Now I don't have to do math in my game that's actually all about math. Perfect. Okay, so we'll reposition here and warp on forward a little more. Of course, we're trying to be pretty quick with this. Okay, and we will begin our burn now. Excellent. I'm going to physics warp the burn, because this will be a somewhat lengthy burn, and I would like to have this done quickly. I do need to pull OBS back up so that I can see my timer. There we go. And make sure that, you know, we aren't having any issues with it. Perfect. Okay. So our burn is going to be done here in about 40 seconds. And we're going to come out of physics warp for the last 10 seconds of the burn here. There we go. Just so that we don't have this, like, rocking wildly all over. 3, 2, 1, and we'll call that good. How's that? And not quite where we wanted it. We can just lock prograde and bring this in a little bit further. Like I said, 200 kilometers sounds good to me. There we go. That'll do. We'll have to match this inclination, of course. So let's just go ahead and circularize this up a bit. Something along the lines of this. That'll do. It doesn't have to be this perfect. There we go. We'll lock to that maneuver node and head on over. Oops, that was the wrong button. I wanted to stop the physics warp, not close the map. For now, we'll just warp to here. Here we come, moon. Fantastic. Of course, we're going to want this oriented in such a way where both of these panels can get access to the sun. This is not what that is right now. We could always move these panels with an engineer, too, if we needed to. So that is an option. We're 2 minutes away from our burn right now. And we will head on in. We'll just warp through these 2 minutes a bit. Okay. And we will begin our burn right about now. Man, that's handy. I love it. So, I mean, we're going to want this to be in, like, a vertical orientation on the actual station. We can orient the station the way we want it. I don't think we have an engineer on the station, though, and this is going to be liable to wiggle around, so we're going to want to strut this up. So an engineer on the station would be handy. That's for sure. We might need to bring one at some point. For now, though, this seems to be reasonably fine. 5 more seconds in this burn. We'll call that good. And we will set the science station as our target. We are going this direction. So we need to come over here and we need to burn anti-normal. 10.7 degrees here. And maybe change this timing ever so slightly. Yes, there we go. 76 meters per second there is not bad. We'll physics warp our turn on over. And we will warp to that burn. Cool. This will also kind of serve a double purpose as a refueling trip. So we're going to definitely get some refueling done here. I actually expect that this will still be attached. So there's that. We're going to need to burn this in about 50 seconds. So we'll just go ahead and warp towards that a bit. Okay, and we'll burn this in just a moment. Now. Okay. So that burn will finish up shortly. Probably good enough. We could get that a little bit further. There we go. That's good enough. Perfect. And let's see about getting an intercept. So an intercept would look like what? That's actually pretty solid. Change our timing a bit. And what do we got going on here? Half a kilometer apart. 0.2 kilometers apart. 0.1 kilometers apart. This is good enough. So we'll position for that. Warp our way around. And we will warp on into this maneuver. Perfect. I'd like to get both of these done here, so we should be able to get this done pretty quickly here. We've got about 40 seconds until our burn time. Okay. Sounds good. Burning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. There we go. We overburned ever so slightly there. We could turn around to prograde and fix that. We would need to physics warp to turn around to prograde. There we go. And we could fix this ever so slightly. We'll call that good. And then we will warp to about here. Excellent. So we don't currently see the station, but we will soon. We're going to switch over to target mode, and we're going to head to target retrograde soon. There's the station. Excellent. It's about 60 kilometers out. Now it's about 10. 2 kilometers out. We'll physics warp as we come in because I want to remain on target retrograde. But we'll come in a little bit faster here, and we're going to need to kill this relative velocity about now, actually. Okay. 20 kilometers per second, or rather meters per second. 20 kilometers per second would be insane. There we go. 4 meters per second. 2 meters per second. And there we go. We'll call that good. So we will rotate on around. We will control from here, and we will set... It doesn't really matter, but we can set this docking port as our target. And then we will go ahead and point towards target. It's very convenient that we can do that now. So we'll point towards target there. And then we will hop over to the station. And we will control from here. And we will set this as our target. And all we want to do is rotate a little bit here. We're going to need to turn our SAS on. We have power. Good. We don't appear to be rotating at all. We have limited probe control. That's probably why. And the reason for that is, of course, because we put both of these into hibernation. So we can turn these back on at this point. So there's 1 and 2. And now we can head on over. Excellent. Just trying to position correctly. There we go. We'll hold here for the moment. We'll call that good enough. And we're already pointed directly at it because we are locked to target here. So let's just burn in at a little bit of a speed here. We'll go in at about 1 meter per second for now. We'll turn RCS on, and we'll just adjust our velocity ever so slightly. And we'll slow it down a little bit as well. Okay. SAS back on, and we will point at the target. We don't want the RCS to be used by the SAS system, so that'll do. We'll need to adjust our velocity heading a couple of times on the way in. And in fact, we should do that right now. There we go. And go back to target mode. And we'll warp a little bit closer here. Okay. One last adjustment. We're going to brake a little bit, and we're also going to, well, we're just going to brake a little bit. There we go. We're docked up. And this is kind of hilarious. But yeah, you can see how much wiggling there is here. We don't like that. We definitely want to attach struts here, but this will do for now. So you can see here, we've got ourselves our power, and we're now able to properly do our research. So that's great. We will continue our research here. You can definitely see it likes to wobble. We're going to turn the SAS off for now to prevent that. Okay, let's head on back to the Space Center. We've got another one of those to do out at Minmus. So let's go. Now, I do want to make a couple of very minor tweaks to the actual flight profile here. Or not, well, yeah, to the flight profile, but also to the actual craft. The very minor tweak that I want to make is as follows. I want to go into structural, grab strut connectors, and I want to connect in, I mean, 4x is probably overkill. 2x will do. We'll connect from here to here. It doesn't want to do that. Okay. What about from here to here? Yes, it will do that. So that'll give us a little bit more solidity there. That's not really the word I'm looking for. But let's go ahead and launch this because we need to go again. So that's great. SAS will go on as soon as we are loaded in here. SAS on, throttle up, off we go. This already seems much more rigid, but we've got a lot of waggling going on. No doubt about that. We'll just head on over this way a bit and lock to prograde. And we'll see about adjusting that. Yeah, we've definitely still got some waggling going on here, I think, from this joint at this point. But for now, this seems reasonably fine. We're going to need to pull our heading down. Do a small adjustment there. And we'll hold here for the moment. We'll pull it down. I just feel like we were getting a little bit too much in terms of horizontal speed. This thing is kind of wiggling all over the place. I mean, that's a bit to be expected. Our inclination doesn't actually matter that much here. We do need to change our inclination to go to Minmus anyway, so that'll be fine. Hopefully we don't see our solar panels burn off. That would be awkward. Okay, our SRBs are going to pop off momentarily here. Cool. We are seeing some heat engages. So I'm going to coast for a bit here and let our altitude increase. We are a little bit too much horizontal speed right now, I feel like, but we need to burn again now that that thermometer gauge disappeared. So that's fantastic. We'll continue to burn here and we should be fine now. We just needed to drop a little bit of speed as we went through that portion of the atmosphere. We're keeping an eye on these thermometer gauges. If they get up too high again, we'll drop our speed again. For now, it looks okay. Yeah, it looks reasonable for now. Our altitude is still climbing, so the air resistance is getting lesser. We're up over 75 kilometers. We're going to 100. Actually, probably 105 again. That was 115. I looked away for 1 second. Well, we're basically at orbital velocity here. You can definitely see that this was a more efficient flight profile. The only concern was a thermal concern. But yeah, this is a much, much more efficient circularization. No doubt about that. So I'll hop over to the maneuver node. And for the time being, I'm not going to physics warp. Okay, now that the thermometers are gone, I will. Ooh, that's some joint issues. No doubt about that. Okay, let's get rid of the physics warp for the moment. See about bringing it back. Okay, we're in space now, so it should be good. We'll go ahead and warp to this burn. The burn is going to be in 4 minutes. So we'll warp a little bit. 2 minutes, 1 minute, and that's 34 seconds. So let's warp a little further. Okay. Burn is in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And we'll separate. Cool. So there seems to be some compression on these batteries as well. Well, we're not really planning on launching this thing anytime soon again, so I'm not too concerned about it. We are officially in orbit as of now. We'll call that good enough. Cool. So now, of course, we need to head to Minmus. So we'll set that as our target. The ascending node is right here. We're only 5.2 degrees off, so that's not too bad. We're going to need to burn anti-normal and bring this around to... Here will do. We'll head on over to that maneuver node. And we'll burn this in about a minute. Excellent. Let's warp to that. Okay, and we're going to burn this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We'll physics warp the burn because this is a somewhat lengthy burn. Not hugely, but somewhat. Okay, 0.2 meters per second off. How's that looking? Good enough, I think. Yes, good enough. Fantastic. Now Minmus is here, and we will head out sometime around here, I think. Let's see how that feels. Little later, here. Cool. And we will change our, if I can grab the node here. Come here, node. No. Come here, node. There we go. We grab the node there, and let's just tweak this a bit. Not quite that much. That was more tweak than we needed. We'll bring it on in. Once again, I like that 200 kilometer range. Although for Minmus, we'll probably go for like 100. I mean, Minmus is so gravitationally small. Yeah, this'll do. So we'll position for that. That burn will be in about 9 minutes, so we will warp our way on over. Cool. Oh, we should extend our solar panels, too, once we're out of this warp. There we go. No problem there. And this burn is going to be in about 50 seconds, so we will continue to warp. And it will be burning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Cool. We'll physics warp this burn as well, make that go 4 times faster. There we go. So we've got another 1.5 minutes left in this burn. But we're off to Minmus. And we're going to be following the same steps there. But this is going to be largely considered a completion of these stations, at least for now, unless we want to expand them later. So it's good that we're getting this done. Got about 8 seconds left in this burn. 3, 2, 1. We'll call that good. Okay. We could definitely burn a little more prograde here. There's no doubt about that. That'll do. And at this periapsis, we will do a quick circularization. Something along the lines of that. Okay. We'll head over to the maneuver node. Head over to the maneuver node. There we go. This thing trying to crack in itself apart, but that's fine. And we will head on over to that node. That is going to be in 5 days. Hello, Minmus. Here we come. 2 days. 1 day to go. And our burn is going to be in 1 minute. So we'll go ahead and warp that a little bit closer. There we go. And we will burn this right about now. We'll physics warp that burn as well. Okay. Well, we'll call that good enough. We don't need to perfectly circularize this, so we'll go ahead and set this as our target. We're heading this direction, so the descending node is the next location that we're going to be at. We'll need to burn normal rather than anti-normal, and we'll just match planes. Something along the lines of, I'm hoping that we get a 0.0 here. Maybe if we change the timing? Yeah, changing the timing does the trick. So match planes there. And we'll warp on over to this. Cool. Very minor burn, of course. And we'll just warp this in. I overshot a little bit. That's okay. We'll call that good. 0.1 is close enough. And let's see about getting ourselves an encounter. What would this look like? Okay, pretty simple here. Well, maybe. It's looking like it might be a next orbit sort of thing, with a little bit more retrograde over here. It's not quite a next orbit, I suppose. Did I just... Yes, I put some normal in there. Let's not put some normal in there. And let's just pull this retrograde back a bit, change our timing to be about here. 0.4 kilometers? That's close enough, probably, but we can get even closer. There we go. 0.0 kilometers. Let's go ahead and warp towards that maneuver. And we should also be on the maneuver node, of course. Wonderful. So we'll physics warp our way over to the maneuver node. And then we'll time warp in a little bit closer. We want to start this burn in about 20 seconds. Okay, we'll start this right about... now. Okay, how's that looking? 1 kilometer apart? Okay, that was the closest we got there. It wasn't quite the encounter we were looking for, but it'll do. So we'll warp on in over here. Fantastic. We're going to want to switch to target retrograde. We'll go ahead and physics warp as we turn. Wonderful. 400 meters is our closest approach. So we will want to warp a bit until we get there. Probably sometime around here, although we're going to get a little closer, it looks like. Yeah. And we'll kill our relative velocity. There we go. That'll do. And then we will point towards target. I want to do a bit of a get closer burn here, because I'd like to get, well, a little bit closer. We can select particular locations here, but we're really out of range. So we're going to move on in at about 5 meters per second for the moment. We can increase that speed a bit. There we go. And we'll flip around to target retrograde. And physics warp our way on in. Wonderful. We're about 200 meters out right now. Now we're about 100 meters out. And we will kill our relative velocity here. I overkilled it. We're moving the wrong way now. We'll flip back around. And we'll kill our relative velocity again. There we go. And we'll just set... Actually, I want to flip over to here. I want to control from here. Do we need to turn this on? Oh, we have not enough electric charge here. Okay. In that case, we can't really align this. We could attach it here. In order for that to work, we would need to get some momentum over this way. Not quite this way. Over this way. Something like this. This is basically pro-target, but we want to be a little bit off of this. Basically towards Minmus here. Something like this. We'll get a little bit of speed and then flip around to target retrograde. We've overshot pretty heavily, but we want to be on this side anyway, in all honesty. So this is fine. We'll kill our relative speed. Honestly, I would prefer to be on this side, so this is okay. And then we'll burn towards target a little bit here. We want to set this docking port as our target. This is perfect. I'm quite happy with this positioning, actually. So we'll head in at about 1.5 meters per second. Let's adjust our actual velocity here to be around here. Then SAS back to target. Excellent. Then I want to rotate to be something like this. There we go. And RCS on, and let's brake a bit. This is going to be a pretty hefty brake maneuver. Our RCS thrusters are not really designed to carry all of this weight. But we'll bring this down a bit. And adjusting our velocity a tiny amount as well. Okay. That is a pretty hefty bounce. We're going to retract this solar panel for the moment. Okay. We should be good. There we go. Definitely not an awkward dock at all. And with that, it is time to put a cut in here, and we managed to get both of these modules put in, and I am very happy about that. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thanks to the channel members who make these videos possible. Thank you to all the channel members for supporting this video. We only have one channel member in the shout-out tiers at this point. That is, of course, Spartan News. And we do have another channel member in the non-shout-out tier, so thank you very much to both of you. And also, thank you to you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can press the join button down below. And as always, I will see you all next time.